Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity and the Tutorial Tuesday. But first of all, a couple of digressions. Today we're going to do that little book, but I wanted to show you these. These are a couple of little paintbrushes that I did from the molds that I showed you a couple of weeks ago. And this is using those new paint markers that I got from Amazon. And I put paint on the handles because that's typical of me. When I'm painting something, I get it on my hands and then I get it on the handles of the brush. But I wanted to show you those because I just think that they are really, really sweet. I hope that's a clear image, because we've got some lovely bright sunshine. So there are the two little paintbrushes I did using those paint markers, and I have to say I do like those paint markers. They're not as fine on the tip as the Posca, but they're still extremely usable. So anyway, there's two, and I'm going to be using those in something in the future. Right, next up, because we're doing a little book, I actually inked and stamped my pages, and I've got some new stamps and I have used a few of them. So here's number one. If I turn it over, you might see the images better. And these are French stamps, and there's a couple of French sentiments in there, and that doesn't bother me because I'm not going to use them. And there's some English sentiments in there as well, but I just want to show you that they stamped really, really lovely. So I got that set, I got this set, and I actually didn't stamp the panda, which is a shame because I kind of like run out of space. But I just know that he's going to stamp lovely anyway. But I did stamp the others. So that was the other set that I got. And then if you remember, I was making these the other day. I did her as a snow angel. And it's the same kind of characters with the little floppy stripy legs and whatnot. So I just absolutely love those. Love the octopus. Love the little stars. And now I will quickly show you how they stamped. Right, from this set here, I stamped these. I just did a little bit of colour so that you can see them. But I just wanted you to see how nicely they stamped. So I've done the little wheelbarrow. I've done the boot. I absolutely love that boot. And look how tiny that bee is. Put my finger in. It's absolutely gorgeous. You get a little pair of garden scissors and that cute little snail, which is absolutely perfect, I think, for putting on a stamp, or just stamp it above a stamp, because mail can be very slow nowadays. So you can sort of indicate your snail mail. And of course, that's the other part that I had to stamp over there that comes from the same set. But there are the French sentiments. If you know anybody that speaks French, then obviously it's perfect to use them, but I know that I never will. So I just wanted you to see that they stamp great. This is this set, and that's what I stamped from there. See if we can get in close so you can see how they've stamped. Just absolutely love those. Really, really cute. And of course you can cut those out, fussy cut them. And then this is the one where I missed my panda, but I just thought they were really, really sweet. Look at that little swan. You've got the tiny, tiny little dandelion there. And that cat, absolutely gorgeous. And that little hedgehog marching on. Hodgeheads, I call them. And then a little rabbit that can be used anytime, and also Easter. So anyway, I've used a few of these stamps. So I just wanted to share those. So that's my digression. And now we're going to get into the book. Right, so first up, I inked and stamped my pages using some of those stamps. These are the colours that I used. I used Kitsch Flamingo, Mermaid Lagoon and Twisted Citron. Those are my ink colours. I have also used the stamp sets from KLJ UYP because I just love the owl. The owl to me is absolutely hilarious. And I also intend to use this on the spine of the book, and it's a great size for my roll of tape. And I've also Whoops, let me get that. So I got everything out of the packaging. So that's KLJUYP. And I've also used a couple of words out of this set, which I did for KS Craft. Right, now the dies that we're using are the little QuickBook die. So you get a torn pocket that goes to the corner, you get Bloom and Grow, you get the stitched flowers which also match the butterfly dragonfly set that I did, and you get the pieces that attach the pages, and this is the page. I also said last week I hadn't used my little banner die and I would find a way to use it, and I think I'm going to use it as page tabs, so I have done those. Right, sticky stuff. I'm going to be using these, the red line tape and the wider adhesive tape, and also the sports tape that you can get from Dollar Tree. Now you can get this in all sorts of colours, and Aliexpress is the cheapest place to get it from, so I will link it below for the colour ones, but for the white one you can just get that from Dollar Tree. And now my bits. There are the little bits. Those are the banner pieces that I've inked up. But I'm going to try and turn them on their sides and bury them within the page so that they'll be like little page tabs. Well, that's the idea anyway. I've cut 4 of these because I've inked up 8 pieces. I've only put adhesive tape on 3 because I'm going to show you how to do that one in a second. And I have inked up my pages, and that's going to be my front cover, and that is the owl, and I've used all my sparkle pens and my paint pens to colour that in. And also I used a stencil using those 3 oxide inks, but I just absolutely love that owl. She looks like, I don't know, so bedraggled, like she was dragged through a hedge backwards. Yes, bless her. And as you can see, the reverse is untouched, and there's a reason for that. So all of these are good on the front, and you've got all your ink and what have you. All your mucky bits are behind. So I've just basically done that. I've created myself 3 of those little pockets using those stamps that I've just shown you. And they've all got a good side and a plain side. Right, so first of all, I'm going to remove the pockets on the front and the back. So I'm going to use those as my front and back, and those are my pockets which I can attach after. And so that I don't confuse anyone, I'm just going to clear my table and come right back. Right, so first of all, the page hinges, and for each one of these you cut, it will hold 2 pages. So you can see that it's embossed there in the centre where it will fold. And if I turn away from the light, I'm hoping that that's a clearer picture. So we're going to run tape either side of that embossed line. Really, really easy to do. And I hope that you can see that, and I'm not hiding everything in the camera. And I'm going off to my edges here. I'm just going to run that down and tear it off, and I'm going to do it down this side. And now I've got 4 pieces, because I've already done the other 3, ready to go. So that's basically what you have. You can see your tape there, and you can see your emboss line in the middle. Now you can use any cardstock that you want to. I'm choosing to do this, and I'm trying to think which way I want my design. Do I want it like that, or do I want it like that? I'm going to go with that actually for my first one. And as I said, you need one of these for 2 pages. And when you're doing it, you always want your nice side facing you. So if you're using a double-sided cardstock and it's only one particular pattern that you like, then make sure that when you do this bit that it's facing you. So I've just removed one at the moment. And all that you need to do is line up your page on that emboss line and press. Okay, That's it. And then you're going to remove the tape from the other side, and you're going to once again line it up at that emboss line, and now you can fold it straight there, and that is the start of your book. Now you will see that there's just a little bit of excess that you can cut off with your scissors if you want to, or you can use it as a bump so that when you're standing your book up on end, it's not going to squash your pages. Me personally, I'm going to get rid of that bit. So now we've got 2 pieces, and we're going to go along and we're going to do that with all of them until I've used up these other 3. So you've seen how I've done 1, and I'll come back when I've done those. Okay, I've done that, and I've connected my 8 pieces, and I've now got 4 parts, as you can see here. They're all connected via this piece on the back. And then you need to fold them, score them if they're not lying very flat. And obviously when you ink and stuff, your paper can become a little bit wobbly and distorted, and that's okay with me for the style of book that I'm creating. And then simply arrange your pages where you want them, and you'll see that they're all sort of like yucky side to yucky side, and that is how we're going to attach them. So we're going to take our first page and we're going to run our tape right where we want it, and I'm going to go, you have to excuse me if I'm off camera slightly, I just want to see what I'm doing. And if you want it to be a pocket, then you're only going to run your tape up here so that you can slide a tag or something into the top. Or you can use the notch punch like I showed you on the one that I did the other day. But when you're doing that, make sure you use your punch so that you know what's the top of your book and what's the bottom of your book. Right, so I've done 3 there because I want to notch that one out, and I need to connect it. I'm going to call them yucky side to yucky side, and you're going to put them together like that so that it will be hidden. So I'm going to peel the tape off, and I'm going to do that. And as I said, I've left the top part of my page free of any tape so that I can get a tag in there if I want to, and I will use my notch punch just to mark the idea that that is the top. Right, getting them straight. Line your pages up so that you can see them. Can you see that? I'm butting it up to it there. And it's always the most fiddly part, lining something up. I mean, if you're a little bit out, you know, it's not the end of the world. Especially when you're doing a handmade book. Sometimes that can just make it look lovely. Right, so there I've got my first page. And now to remember that this part is where I want the top, I've got a little We Are Memory Keepers thumb punch here, and I'm just going to wiggle that in because it's kind of slightly above the thickness for this punch. I've just got to hold it up to the light so I can see where I'm feeding it, and I hope I'm going to slide it in. I sometimes wish that they would do can't actually see inside here. I wish that they would do a deeper platform so that you can slide in. Not necessarily that you want to cut chipboard, if you know what I mean, but it would just be nice so that you could guide in a couple of pieces of paper at least. Right, I've managed to do that. I need to find out roughly where my centre is. Let's have a look. Well, if I'm out on that, then, you know, squeeze that, and now I know that's the top of my book, and into there now I can pop a tag. So I'm only going to have one little slidey pocket on this one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tape all the way around on here, and I'm going to do exactly the same and pop that one on, and I'll be back. Right, so I've done that and I've got my pages stuck together, and you can see I've got the yucky on the outside. So there's all my pages, but I've decided I want to put some distress ink along the edges. And it's one of the things that I like to do when I'm doing something like this, because if I ever pick it up with yucky hands, then, you know, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to go all around the edges of these pages with a little bit of black distress ink, and I will be right back. Okay, so I did that. I'll just move my ink out of the way here, and I've got some black distress ink around all the little bits where I want it. And as I said, there's the yuck at the back and a bit yucky at the front. But I've got some little pockets here, and I've decided, as I've got a tag there, I might use my pockets here. So I'm going to go with my on the road again, little duck, I think. And I've just got some red line tape here, which is there we go. It can be a bit fiddly. I've used really narrow tape so that I can get as much into the pocket as possible. So it's only stuck down on two sides. Now, do I want it there or do I want it there? I think I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to line it up with the bottom of my page. That's it. There we go. So there's our first pocket in, and now you've got somewhere where you can put stuff. And I'm using red line tape because it's good and strong, which means that, you know, you can put quite a bit in there and poke around, sort of thing. And then I'm going to put my little gnome, and then I'll put the pocket on another page and I'll come back. Right, so I've done my pockets, and we've got the one tab for popping a tag into. There's a little ducky pocket, and I'll flip it over, and there's my little garden gnome, and flip it again, and I decided to put the boot onto that side, so that's a little pocket. And as you can see, still yucky front and back, and that's what it looks like there. Now then, at this point, this is where you would decide if you want to tie it. Ribbon, twine, anything. And I've decided I'm going to use this green baker's twine, which is from Dollar Tree. It's a very good buy, actually, and it's always better to cut way more than you need. So decide whereabout on your book that you're going to have it, and I think I'm going to have mine there, just right in the center. So I need to have a little piece of tape either side just to hold that in place. So I'm going to go for my red line tape again, and I'm just going to pop some here that I know is basically going to cover the center, and just snip it off and do exactly the same thing on the other side. Just aim for the center. Just enough to just hold it there while we do everything else, because next we're going to be using the sports tape. So I'm just going to pull this off. Whoops. So the problem with my nails is that sometimes I have them long, sometimes I have them short, but I'm always in the garden, so no matter what, they're always yucky. Right, get that off me. I've got static, and now once again I'm just going to fold this in half roughly. I've got way more than I actually need, and I'm just going to go there. So that piece of tape now is just going to hold that there and out of the way. Right, and I'm also going to tie it just to keep it away from the next stage. So you can kind of see it's in the middle there. I'm just going to tie a bow. Whoops. Just to keep that out of the way just for a minute, and I'm just going to scrunch it underneath so it's not going to get all over the place. Right, so there I know that I've got my tie, and of course the back and the front covers will be covering that, and I've also got red line tape on the backs of those. But before we do that, we need our sports tape. And this is the stuff from Dollar Tree. I'm going to measure it for you. And it is 1.5 inches wide. So you've got to remember, you can make as many pages as you want to. Just keep checking against your tape that you haven't gone too thick. And because you can stamp on this stuff, and I like this stamp because it's also from the same set as the owl, I'm going to just take that, I'm going to put it down on my board there. I'm going to move my little book over to the side. I'm going to put this in a direction where I can see it, which is there. I'm going to get my VersaFine Clair, and I'm just going to ink that up while it's stuck to my mat. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm somebody who doesn't, you know, I don't really do perfect handmade books. Find where the start of your tape is, and that is going to go, hopefully, to the edge of your stamp. And then you're just going to roll to pick up that design. Can you see that? It's not perfect, but that's okay, because a lot of this is going to be stuck on the inside anyway. And then I'm going to ink it up again. I'm going to find the point where I finished, or there's about, might overlap slightly, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to roll again. See? Now we're all stamped up. Now we can get paint pens and we can colour that in if we want to. But I'm looking at that, and I haven't got a round tape measure, but I'm thinking that if I pick my book up and I go sort of like there, and then I go there, I think I've got enough pattern on there to actually cover that. So I'm just going to move that and clean it after, and I'm going to pull back my tape. Now you can see there's a little bit through, so I'm going to come back in a couple of minutes when it's dry, because I've actually rubbed some off there. Right, so I think the ink on this is probably as dry as I'm prepared to wait for it. And the next thing that you need to do is kind of assess where halfway of your tape is going to be. And I think mine halfway is going to be there, but that doesn't really matter, because it's going to be hidden by the cover, if you know what I mean. And you can see now that that, as well as the tape that we put down, is going to hold the ribbon in place. So you try and use a clean pair of scissors if you can. I use Goo Gone on my scissors to clean them, because this stuff is incredibly sticky. So I managed to get the bulk of the piece off there, and I'll just put that back in my pot, stop anything sticking on the edges of it. And then you can just smooth that down. We're going to fold it around the edge so that you've got that pattern down your spine. It doesn't matter that there are sort of like bits missing, and then just trim any excess away from your pages. In fact, this is probably the most fiddly bit about doing it, actually. But you can buy sticky back canvas, but it's really expensive. But can you see, you do get, oh, I'm a bit blurred, you get a nice edge when you start trimming it off with these scissors. Just show you how I'm doing that there. And then just peel it off. Like I say, my hubby always gets me Goo Gun from Dollar Tree. Goo Gun. This stuff. It's just a little bottle, and I just keep it on my desk because I get my scissors in a horrible mess. Especially my little black Tim Holtz snips. Can you see? There's just a little bit off the edge there. Just going to take that off. And so that's all nice and tidy now. And now you can undo this and get it out of the way, because you want to make sure you don't do what I usually do, and that is put things in upside down. See, I would have done that. So I've done that, and now I can see which way round I am, and that's the right way with the notch punch at the top. So putting my string there, which is halfway, I hope, through my book, and it's time to put the front cover on. So I'm going to peel off my tape. And it's like trying to get your fingers in. And I've tried pokey tools and all sorts of things to try and get better leverage on lifting it, but it just doesn't work for me. I just have to keep sort of like hacking away at it with my fingernails and just hope for the best. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a nice, like that, nice clean run straight away. And I used to use tape runners, but that was when I was in the UK, because tape runners in the UK are really, really cheap. You probably get 10 times as many tape runners as you pay for one here. Right, so obviously we want to put the front page on and we want it to be straight. So I'm just going to pop my ribbon tie across there. I'm going to match that onto my corner as best as I can before I even start to put anything down. And then I'm going to go along to that edge. I'm going to squash that down, and that should be it. Now obviously you're going to have a little bit of a bump here, but that's because you've got your tape under there. But you know, once again, that doesn't bother me either, because I just love little handmade books. So now we've got our front cover and we've got our piece of twine which is going to open and close it, and that's all nicely done. And then we're going to go to our next yucky bit and we're going to move our twine across again. I'm going to peel all this off. Ooh, that came off straight away. That was satisfying. Probably curse myself now, and I'll sit here for 5 minutes trying to peel off the rest. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Go quiet while I start picking. Just one more piece to go. I like to put that middle bit in just to, you know, stop anything from pulling away. And you can put even more on there if you want to. Now, I'm thinking about which way round I want it. And I think that way, because that's where my fingers are more likely to go. I'm always thinking about the transference of yuck from my hands onto anything. So that piece is straight there. I want to get it straight onto that corner there, and then that is it. So we can squeeze that shut. So now we've got our ribbons, straighten them up there and then press, that will tie, and I can trim that off in a minute. But just to show you, I'll get my scissors now and do it. I think that will be enough for me to tie. You've got your little owl front cover. You've got your printed and your decorated spine there. That little bump that you see, of course, is the ribbon. Obviously, if you use ribbon, it's going to be flat. but I want to use twine, and as I've already said, little handmade books that are a little bit quirky. I really enjoy them. So anyway, there's the cover. There's the flowers from the set, the stamps from KS Craft, stamps from KLJUYP. We open it up. We've got a little tag pocket. We've got a spare space here for doing whatever it is that we want to do. Same again, another little pocket, and then we've got the little gnome pocket, and then we've got a nice blank space again. And of course you can also do more stuff on the back, but the more pages that go in, just remember, don't go wider than your tape. Now I can say from personal experience that a 1.5-inch tape, using the cardstock that I use, which is the cheap heavyweight from Walmart, will probably hold 24 pages. So you imagine 24 pages and you're looking at about that thick. It's a book that would, you know, quite literally stand up on its own. Well, that one will when it's open, but really solid and really sturdy. And now I've got my bit that I can tie it with. And there goes Bo, bless him. And we cut these banner pieces, and I said I wanted to use them as page tabs. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to run some red line across the whole sections, and I'll be back. Right, so I've done that, and I've just popped my red line tape where the holes would be. And I think I'm going to go with, I'll go with my heart first on the first page. But as you're aware, these are supposed to be banners that layer up on top of each other, but I wanted to use them, so I'm quite happy to use them for something different. And I want to do that so I can line it up. So I don't want it coming off the top of the page, so I'm going to put that one there. So I've got my little banner tab as a tab, and now I'm going to use my triangle. I'm going to put that one there. Yeah, you can put whatever you want on your pages. Going quiet again while I try and peel. Not having any success. Oh dearie me. Honestly, you could sit here for 20 minutes trying to peel the backing off tape. Right, done it. And I can roughly see where that is, and I'm going to go there. Yeah, and put that one there. So now I've got my heart and I've got that banner, and then I'm going to have my square one about there. Yeah, of course you could put lots more in, put all kinds of little flags and tabs and stuff on your pages. So I'm going to go right there, and I know that the tape is covering the hole, so I kind of roughly know where I am. So there we are. We've got 3 tabs, and of course I've just remembered that I've got to tie my book. See, not paying any attention, so now I'm going to have to move that one up and pray that it didn't stick just yet. And it did. So don't you just love having a disaster on camera? Oh dear. Can very, very gently peel that up. Now that's ripped my page slightly, but that's okay because I'm going to cover it up. And I'm going to find the end of my red line. But I do like to leave all of my errors in my videos because I think they're mistakes that are so easy to make. I mean, I think I've made envelopes and stuff in my tutorials where I've got the opening upside down, and I've put all the filling in upside down. And it's just one of those things, you know, sometimes you can get so engrossed in what you're doing that you kind of forget which bit's going where. But that's okay because you're having fun. Right, I've just peeled that off. And let me just see where that halfway mark is there. And I'm going to go there now. And I have covered my little torn bit, so that's okay. There. Error complete. So I've got those in there, and I can certainly put all sorts of stuff along there. You can put folded ribbon as your tab and loop it over with a little bit of tape either side. You can put anything you want off the edge of a page, little bit of frayed ribbons, tassels, just, you know, do whatever it is that you enjoy. But now we can just tie this off. Now that I've got that in the right place. And of course I can't get my fingers in. Oh dearie me. I'm having a right old day today. Let's try it this way where I can see it. Alright. So I have to laugh at myself, sorry. There is our little book. We've got our front cover. I've used the banners for little tabs. There is the back cover, and I've chosen that because it's like I've got the darker area where I'm likely to hold it, so I can do more stamping or whatever it is that I want to do in that area. We've got our little tie-in, which of course I've used baker's twine, but if you used ribbon it would be absolutely flat. You've got your flowers in there, you've got your inking, stamping. If you want to use just patterned cardstock, you can do that. Use your punches so that you've got holes to put tags in. You've got your little torn edge pockets there that you can put even more stuff into. And personally, I just love that. I just think that's a great bit of fun. And they are quick to do. And there, of course, is your stamped sports tape, which gives a really, really great spine. And as I say, the white stuff is from Dollar Tree, but you get wonderful, wonderful colours on Aliexpress, and I will link those below. So just touching off on what we did, and I've also got the one that I did last week, and I need to clean that stamp, and that is this one, just using the pattern papers. Just to show you how easy it is, you can get your journal cards, you can fold them, you can pop them in there, you can create pockets, you can put tags in, you can just do whatever you want. And of course I didn't put the back on that one so that you could see exactly what the sports tape looks like, but it creates a really, really sturdy spine so that you've got a nice little strong book. So that one is, how many pages did I put in there? That's just 2 pages. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is 5 pages. So that's what we have. Of course, I didn't put twine on that one. I just showed it to you plain. You could put a bulldog clip to keep it closed. But I just love them. And I will use those, and I will stamp in them. I will do my colour testing in there. I'll write any little notes that the world will never see. And I will pop them in there. So that's what we did. That is the ink that I used, the Kitsch Flamingo, the Twisted Citron, and the Mermaid Lagoon in the oxides. Right, I hope that wasn't too confusing. And as I say, it's a long video so that you can go through it, and you can pause it in sections if you've ordered this die, just so that you don't get confused. And if you ever want another tutorial on it, I will certainly do it, but it's going to have to be in a couple of weeks before I get round to doing that one again. Now tomorrow I'm up with a design team haul from Eiffel Store, and it's huge. So I'll be up with that, and then projects from that one on Thursday. Yeah, I've got to get my days of the week right. Right, you have an absolutely awesome day as usual. All links below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.